Well, we've got some very interesting new David information, and it's thanks to you guys. I am so grateful for everybody that has joined my Trapology subreddit. Now, I'm still in the early stages of this. I'm going to moderate some people. I'm going to add some people, help some people, have some people basically, help us run this subreddit that I've just started recently. Okay, I've had such a busy weekend. I haven't really had time to sit down and work on this. But what I have done is put together some of the best posts that I've seen here in Trapology over the past few days. And I'm honestly amazed at some of the evidence, some of the investigating, some of the deep diving that some of you guys are doing in this subreddit. And I'm actually very excited. Soon I'm going to announce a whole bunch of new stuff that I'm going to be doing offline that's going to bring you guys into my work, into my investigations, and bring you guys into actually a part of what I'm doing as far as my research. But right now, r/Trapology is the best place to post. It's the best place to give me some leads, to give me things to look into, give me evidence that you found online, and just share your thoughts and your feelings about everything going on, from the David case to the Lil Durk case to all of the other things that we've been covering on all my various channels. I'm so grateful that people are here helping, offering their thoughts, and it's been popping off. So thank you so much to everybody that's joined, and I'm going to show you guys a bunch of interesting things from the subreddit. Now, the first thing that I want to show you guys, and I'm so grateful that we now have this forum as a place for you guys to kind of chip in. This is super interesting. So I kind of had previously done a video that was kind of digging into, some of the images that were taken of David's home. What I found really fascinating was that there were images that I hadn't seen before that were going around, r/DaveIdiots and other places. And I did some digging. I found out some backstory about David's house that I hadn't seen anywhere else, that it was owned by Halle Berry formerly. That it had this kind of like other door down here behind the front door, and the highly likely possibility that this front door setup with a side door leading to the garage could very well have been a part of David's plot to ambush Celeste, leaving this front door open and asking her to come into the garage where the murder ultimately very likely took place, but we don't know for sure. Now, people have now come and found, a new image. I hadn't seen this image. This is a ground floor image from the home looking down towards the front door with the garage door to the left. Now, I had never seen this. I had seen a sort of more cut off image where you could see these lights, but you couldn't see the front door and the side garage door to the left. So I thought this was great. Shout out to Ecstatic Bunch 8246 who shared this. He said, a ground floor view to front door, see garage door on the left. Hey Ross, thanks for creating this place where those of us that are really digging deep into the case against David, I really enjoy your coverage and appreciate the deep dives and going down to the courthouse to provide your first-hand account since there were no cameras allowed. Based on your video today, I was able to find this view from the ground floor of the house looking down to the front door. You can see the door that leads to the garage on the left. Breaks my heart to think that this monster just waited for Celeste to end her life. Look forward to having this space to share notes, hopefully where everyone will be respectful. I hope so too. All right. I really don't want to have a scenario where I'm deleting posts or comments. I really don't like that kind of activity. Hopefully no bad actors try and infiltrate my subreddit, all right? But if they do, we'll be ready, all right? We'll be ready to smoke them. I'm joking, of course. But I do think that I want this to be just like a very open and honest community. And if things are said here that we don't like, we can just have a civil conversation. But anyway, there was another post that I thought was interesting. I had not seen this. Now, this appears to be a video shared by Nocturnal Boredom. He said, hey Ross, I was watching your latest video and you mentioned that the picture of the staircase behind the front door seemed like an exclusive photo taken by someone with access inside the house. It turns out that picture isn't a leaked or exclusive photo at all. The other subreddit actually just pulled a screenshot from a public real estate house tour and slapped their own watermark on it to make it look like they had first-hand evidence. I hope this helps. And I'm actually gassed to see this. Never seen this video before. Me touch that down here. My headphones are not on. But basically, honestly, this is eerie now. Let me just see. Let me just do something real quick. What I don't want to do is, I think I can play this. I think I'm within my rights to play this. All right, so I opened it up here on YouTube so we can get a better look at it, okay? But this is kind of the glossy promotional video for David's house. And I think this is super interesting because I've never actually seen this footage, or at least I don't think I have. And it's kind of like a really fancy breakdown of the house. And we've got these kind of aerial shots honing in from wider Hollywood right into where the house is. These beautiful aerial shots of over the home. And it's so dark knowing what we know now about what happened in this house. But at the time, you know, this would have been a really luxury high-end video. They got the drone out so that they could take a look at this property that used to be Halle Berry's. You know, got these amazing shots here. We can see the beautiful homes that the neighbors have, tennis courts that neighbors have gotten, you know, swimming pools. Everybody's got a pool. Everybody's got an enormous footprint in their property. It's crazy. And to think that this is where David was spending his time. Obviously, these are the garages, the garage doors where this horrible situation ended up happening. And we're going to see a lot more images. So what's interesting is this is the image. People said, all right, oh, you know, well, not people said. I assumed that because the only version of this image that was shared on r/DaveIdiots, it had a bunch of r/DaveIdiots watermarks over it. I'd never seen this before, but now we're actually going to see, and I can't lie, that animation is kind of disturbing at this point, but the way that we kind of see how it goes in, and there's a Ring doorbell camera by the looks of it there, and they do this sort of big sort of burst inside. We see exactly where you end up if you come to the top of them stairs, you know, all of these wine racks and all these luxury fittings and furnishings that were in this property. It is an absolutely gorgeous property. It's insane that David was actually living this lavishly, considering what we know now. Obviously, this is the famous piano that we've seen him next to a bunch of times. Clearly, it was a furnished property, and a lot of this stuff would have been there already. I wonder how they got that piano in there up them stairs, which is crazy. Obviously, the bedroom where, you know, a lot of these places, some pretty nefarious things probably happened. It's a very interesting property. It's a very interesting shape, the way that it kind of tapers along the edge and gets thinner where this garage is. It's kind of wider at one end with the house there. It's kind of quite a small plot, really, when you compare it to some of the other properties. And the pool is kind of in interesting, like, the pool kind of tracks the shape of the property in like a weird way. The way the property's curved, it's like the pool is almost like a miniature footprint of the property. Obviously, you got this beautiful grand staircase. We've not seen that in many pictures. They've got these little dens, these den rooms, these side rooms. I mean, this place is enormous. So many spaces, so many different rooms. It's just insane, really, that such a young, out of control guy was living this lavishly. You know, living here allegedly on his own. There was luggage in the property that belonged to his management, but as far as we're aware, he was living here on his own. And it's, you know, this is the pool there on the left, beautiful views out onto Hollywood of Los Angeles, giant walk-in wardrobe, huge bathroom with bathtub. This is where those, well, this is obviously something worse, but you know, this really seemingly is where those streams were taken, where Sakura and Neo are there when David says, oh, ignore the smell, I just took a massive shit in here. This is where that would have happened, right? And this is like a reverse view of that. You know, an enormous lavish bathroom. But here really is where the really saddest stuff happened. Now, this angle here, I believe, is possibly taken from the perspective of actually walking through that door. So likely behind the camera off to an angle would have been that front door that was behind, you know, the garage door that was behind the front door. Now, some people have pointed out, and I think we're going to get to some of those posts later maybe, but it actually looks like there's stains on this brickwork. Now, I'm not sure if, no, actually I am sure. So this video was posted on February the 5th, 2025, all right? They're still trying to rent this property. As far as I'm aware, I don't think the property has been rented. I think they're having some trouble renting this property. And what we're actually seeing is what looks like stains on the brickwork that allegedly was covered in blood. Now, I believe, I don't know the exact part of the floor that the blood was found in. It wasn't kind of obvious from the way that the garage was laid out. It looked like a lot of this stuff had all been moved around. But I've seen some people suggest that maybe the darker parts are blood stains and maybe the lighter parts are actually where they've made attempts to scrub the floor where there was previously blood. So this is obviously another angle. This is the rowing machine that literally had Celeste's blood still on it, which is just so sad. It's just crazy to be able to look back at this property with all of this in mind, and I honestly can't fathom who would possibly want to live there after everything that we've heard. It is actually insane. But anyway, okay, shout out to the people that posted this in r/, I was about to say Davidology, but this is Trapology, and people saying, damn, you're fast, that's awesome, nice find. What an effing pull. Excellent work. So I guess I have the power to just like delete these comments. I'm assuming that these comments are public though, right? If I pull this up publicly, yeah, these comments are public. I have the power. I've never been a moderator, but I have the power to approve these comments. That's crazy. I'm just going to approve these just to see what it does. What does this do? What are my mod actions? Mark a spam, lock comment. So this is what they be doing over on D4VD, eh? This is how they be doing. They be lock it. Okay. So anyway, that was really interesting. Now, there was another post that was kind of a deep dive that I thought was quite interesting, all about how David had allegedly removed the original moderators of the original fan-created r/David subreddit. Now, this is super fascinating. So this is the story of how David kicked out the mods of r/David sub that was created by his fans. So this is Forward Company, okay, who's clearly deep in the rabbit hole at this point. It said, hello, I'm sure you have tons of DMs, but I just have a simple question if you don't mind answering. I just wanted to know if you're the moderator for the David subreddit anymore. I know at one point you gave mod to David himself. Did you remain as a moderator in any way or as a sub mod or anything? And just for context, the poster says, I had a conversation with the original mod of David's sub, WiseCulture 1408. It was effed up how David did him. I just thought I'd share here since hearing the other D4VD sub is compromised. I said, I gave David head mod way before this whole thing, and then after I got hate mail and threats, I stepped down entirely, and he was head mod alone for a good while. I believe the sub is completely unmoderated now, including the removal of David as a mod, hence why it's locked down. Not sure who removed him or if his account was banned by Reddit. And so you can see like a little bit more of what was going on here in the David Reddit account. I said, you had to accept the request first. That appears to be David himself asking for the moderator privileges. Said, sweet, give me 5 minutes. I sent you an invite. Said, thank you, bro. I was wondering if you were ever going to find your subreddit. Lol, excited to see you in Seattle this September. Yeah, for sure. Said, I wish him the best, but personally, I don't think I'll be keeping up with his journey moving forward. I always have love for the music that got me through so much. I just don't feel connected to the way that he's headed now. Anyone feel this way? What would repair the fan connection? It gets hard to keep up with everyone. So this person bowed out of being a moderator. Okay, we got a better picture of that here. So that basically I'm saying I don't want to keep up with it. I don't feel connected to where he's headed. So this basically is David himself, I believe, David Reddit, saying, what would repair the fan connection? It gets hard to keep up with everyone. People saying, this actually you, dog? He said, yeah, I should be admin by tomorrow. If you DM me a pic of you with the Reddit in the photo, I can just give it to you. So that's how it went down, saying that was actually David. He proved that that was him, and they actually had a conversation and said, yo, how do I send pics on here? LMAO, on mobile, bottom left camera icon. And so this person actually is posting a genuine conversation that they had with David himself, right? So this is crazy. This is the type of high quality content you're getting in Trapology. So shout out to him for posting this, or them. I don't know if it's a he or she, Forward Company. So that's actually insane. All right, confirmed. But here is where it goes left. All right, Reddit, you're receiving this message because you, WiseCulture, changed the order of mods in the mod list for r/David. 2 mods positions in the mod list were changed. WiseCulture 1408 gave this reason for reordering the mod list. David to head mod. Here's the mod list before and after this change. So David Reddit is put to the top. They got swapped over. All right, crazy that they actually have this original picture of them with David. And then this is sort of the sub as it is, you know, being confirmed that David himself. So this is the Withered album discussion mega thread. Now, what's fucking insane? What's really insane? What's fucking insane that I don't think that Mr. Forward Company has even noticed. This was all going on while the murder, like within a week of the murder. Now that's insanity. I'm not going to lie. Forward Company 1174, could you please go back and tell me the exact dates that these messages were sent? Because I believe that it's like April 20. All right, well, I know now. April 26. They asked this question, right? April 26, they asked this question. Okay, but it seems to be that the post, this is what doesn't make any sense. If this is a post, this says today, it doesn't say the exact date on it. If this was a post when David first confirmed that he is an admin, so it says April 29, that's when the mod order gets changed. And we're talking about, this is like in the midst of the murder. This guy's actively plotting a dismemberment while he's taking control of his subreddit. How insane is that? I'm sorry, we've just stumbled upon more evidence. So the Withered album discussion mega thread, 4 days. So this would have been the correct time frame because it would have been 4 days after the Withered album came out, which came out allegedly, what, 1 day after the murder or 2 days after the murder? So this guy has got the time to say, what's up, guys? I finally have Reddit. He's making his first forays into moderating his own Reddit while he's also moderating a dismemberment. This is absolute insanity. This is actually complete insanity. I can't believe this. I'm going to have to go back and dig into the original David sub and see what this fucking guy was up to. How did he have time for all of this? I can't believe it. So here's a breakdown from Wise Culture. The screenshots were from April 29th last year. Days after the murder, days before the dismemberment. What the fuck was this guy doing? He just decided that he wanted to become a mod on his subreddit while he was doing a dismemberment. I cannot believe it. The screenshots from April 29th last year, he was very inactive after becoming mod. Yeah, because he was busy. After Celeste remains were initially reported, people came to the sub in mass. The sub was basically dead before the Withered album, showing some interest, some increase in interest up until the incident in September. When the news first came out, we didn't know that the body was connected to David in any way, and being fans, we were hopeful it was a random person that had stolen the car and left a body in it. I went to David's last concert in Seattle, I think on September the 18th or 19th or something like that. Then we found out just the day after that the rest of the tour was cancelled and David was most likely the perpetrator in connection to Celeste being identified. After the incident, the sub was flooded with speculation, which the other mod and I tried to limit to commentary, theories about facts, and minimize misinformation, hate, and harassment against David fans. It was really early and we didn't know if he had been set up or whatnot. The evidence quickly piled up. I'd say 90% of fans stopped supporting him vocally, including me. I ended up stepping down shortly after leaving one other mod under David. I stepped down due to threats and accusations that I was involved, or somehow I was a PDF. I'd only modded the sub for a couple months before David joined. David was highly inactive the entire time he was a mod and never used his mod privileges. I would check periodically. The other mod left after me, presumably because he was getting threats for removing posts or comments that were critical of him. It had been found that he also moderated a sub that rated teenagers on appearance, and he also had multiple comments on the sub complimenting these teenagers. Whoa. Which was a bit incriminating. He'd also given multiple ages, something like 16, 18, or 21. When someone had posted this info, it blew up on one of the other David subs, and eventually I just remember him disappearing, which left David as the head mod. I'm not quite sure how posting was disabled, whether it was the mod after me or Reddit. I don't believe David used his mod privileges, or if he did, was long after I had stopped paying attention to the subreddits. Mad. You're free to cite any of this. I'd actually appreciate if my name could be cleared somewhat. I have no association with David. I've had like 2 conversations with him, which is shown above. Let's clear his name. Repulsed individual said, it's crazy that you're a mod. It's crazy you're a mod that would allow David to post in your sub, just like you allowed David Glazers and defendants to run rampant. Y'all are effing pathetic, disgusting for giving bad people a platform. Hope you get what's coming to you soon. So I don't condone this type of activity. That's not really fair. So Wise Culture didn't seem like they really deserved that, and that's crazy. That brother, in the midst of a in the midst of a murder, like 6 days after committing this alleged murder, he's seizing control of his subreddit. What? Like, what on earth are we doing? And this is what he was up to. That's insane. Great topic, one that's been buried. I dug into this too. There was a user going by Falling For You. I believe that also raised some eyebrows. I'll see if I can find it. I remember this. That user was said to have been in some weird subs. One day that mod user was there and the next gone. I think about this quite often. I saw the clickbait about Rapper and the car trunk, so I naturally clicked. Then I found myself in the original subreddit before the lockdown. I joined when people were saying he was on tour and thought he was set up. It's weird how it all went down in real time. I think about it from time to time, what was actually going on. Good post. Please explain how Dave Idiots is compromised. I've seen other comments and I've confused. Some of the moderators in Dave Idiots are linked to David's original Discord channel. They were basically part of David's community. I like that. Interesting that he requested mod April 29th of last year. 6 days after killing Celeste. What the hell was he doing? What the hell was he doing? So let's take a look. He was at David Reddit. Wow. So here he is. All right. Last thing I'm seeing is he was on here on Celeste's birthday, the day before the body was actually found, talking to people. Ain't no way I was correct. I was just yapping because I was bored. Psychic. Thank you. I love you guys so much. It's so weird. Guys, I finally have read it. So was he on here? Was he on here like just after the murder? Like he was never active on Reddit at all. This is his only post. What's up, guys? I finally have read it. And it seemed like there's other things. They were saying that there were other things that he'd commented on. He's probably scrubbed it, deleted it. David isn't the same artist that I connected with. What would repair the fan connection? So he's over here plotting a dismemberment in his spare time. I should be admin by tomorrow. And then he never did anything with it. It was almost like he basically wanted to be mod, knowing that later on he would need to kind of hush up what was going on. That's crazy. Now, another post that's in Trapology that I thought was really interesting was this one by Phil Puller, the file puller. Okay, shout out Phil Puller. He has definitely got some interesting backstory that I'm hoping that we can get into very soon. I know he actually reached out to me, basically. Well, I guess it gives you an AI summary. I don't really like AI, but it says it summarizes his account as focused on conspiracy-driven narratives regarding community moderation, bot activity, and David-related figures, uses provocative, confrontational language to challenge other users, often signals impending exposés suggesting a combative presence. He is basically saying that he is pulling files on all of these people that are running r/DaveIdiots, and he's going to expose them. So shout out to Phil Puller. I'm very excited to hear the culmination of his research when I do get a chance, when he gets a chance to finish it off. Says it's not their first rodeo surrounding cases like this. BFF Laundry BFF. Girlfriend Murderer BFF, yeah? This is what he's posted. So he says, for the sake of documentation and spreading awareness, a couple of the two top commenters in the subreddit have been doing this for a couple of years. First image is from r/AllisonChow2, which has been archived using my own tools, Legend. Second image is from r/DaveIdiots2. Okay? Said, oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, we are guessing Annie made her stop, I think because the cartoon was too real, and then the cartoon, the girl wanted to kill her mom. Cartoon started in May 2022, but I think Annie didn't know about it until June 2023. Also, Allison created all the cartoons, but posted them on a schedule once a week. Allison was a kid with more than 4 YouTube channels that we uncovered, so it leads me to believe that she had to hide a lot of things from Annie. So it's hard to tell when she actually finished the 65 episodes. Maybe she finished drawing them in June 2023 and scheduled them all for 1 episode per Sunday up until last Sunday in September. So it's like they're basically doing research into Allison Chow. This is Allison Chow 2, another subreddit. Basically about like another another true crime case basically. Now this subreddit looks pretty locked down. The only moderator is GF Murderer BFF. He's talking about the hearings and the upcoming cases. So to give you a little bit of background on that case, it says, father of Monterey Park teen missing for a week, arrested on suspicion of child abduction. Jeffrey Chow had a news conference in the hours after Allison Chow was found in Glendale. Let's see a bit of news reporting.
Her father now, Jeffrey Chow, has been arrested on suspicion of child abduction and other allegations. NBC4's Amber Frias live from outside Monterey Park Police Station with the latest on this for us. Amber?
Afternoon, I reached out to Chow's attorney, but he refused to provide any more details on his arrest. All he told me was that he stood behind his client's innocence. In Monterey Park, new developments in Allison Chow's disappearance. The 15-year-old was found Tuesday in Glendale exactly 1 week after she went missing. Monterey Park police arrested her father, Jeffrey Chow, Friday on suspicion of child abduction, conspiracy, and falsifying a police report. Police didn't provide any more details, but said the arrest was a result of an extensive investigation. Jeffrey Chow had been on the forefront of the search for his daughter.
It's just been very tiring. I've been very concerned. You know, I just want what's in the best interest of Allison at this point.
Allison disappeared on July 16th. Surveillance video captured her leaving her father's home on her bike in Monterey Park before heading towards an aunt's house in San Gabriel. She was spotted riding her bike on various neighborhood surveillance cameras, but she never arrived. Then, Tuesday, 1 week later, a woman recognized her in the Glendale area and called police. Allison's parents are currently going through a divorce and an ongoing custody dispute. Child's attorney tells us Allison's father currently has custody of her, but that her mother recently gained temporary custody of her. In fact, this happening just before she disappeared. We reached out to her mother, Annie Chow, but she refused to comment. Live in Monterey Park, Amber Frias, NBC4 News.
That's a very, very crazy and interesting case, right? Very interesting situation. It doesn't sound like there's been really many updates whatsoever, right? So she was found. They said that the father abducted her. He had just lost custody of her and was allegedly leading the charge looking for her, but apparently it wasn't true. Annie Chow was granted physical custody on a temporary basis as of last week. The mother has sole legal custody of her for her mental health. But was that not the case beforehand? I don't know. All right, this is really interesting. So this B Laundry BFF guy has been looking into it, and it's interesting, okay? They're talking about when David has been living at the house, 804 Doheny being house number 2, for those new here. So basically, it's just making it clear that, like, these are the things that he's following. And this Allison Chow case is very interesting. This is the police body cam footage that was released 3 months ago. So what is kind of the biggest, most important post in this case? They're saying this is Allison Chow's story in her own words. So she's putting out these little cartoons about what happened, basically. That's very interesting. MPPD IG removes all the posts. So this bit Brian Laundry BFF is like super deep in this case. And he's been trying to get to the bottom of what's been going on with this case. It is super interesting. I mean, I don't fault them for being interested in this case. Says Allison posted an Instagram story for the first time in a long time. Extremely devastating update. She better not be at her mom's. Ooh. She said, when the court wants to force you back to your abuser and all you're allowed to do is watch, that's crazy. She says she's being silenced. So this is interesting. It looked like there was actually a conclusion to this case. It says Mr. Jeffrey was sentenced on May the 23rd, 2025, sentenced to 2 years probation for each charge based on mental health, and his bond is not an exonerated status, meaning his court proceedings have concluded. I appreciate those who alerted me of Allison's recent IG post. If you haven't seen it yet, please take a look. So this is very, very interesting. Saying, what does it mean? He's a criminal. Did he lose his job too? And did the case get resolved? Said, replying to an old thread, but I'm from the same area Allison's from. I followed the case here and there before the original case got shuttered. Jeffrey, dad, is sentenced to probation instead of being incarcerated. Depending on the probation terms, he may or may not be able to work with mental health probation. He's required to undergo mandatory therapy and check in with his probation officer to serve his sentence. There's a lot of speculation about his mental health since people mentioned he was a veteran. Because Allison was a minor, details about the case is kept under wraps. Typically with abuse cases involving minors, details aren't made public. One can hope that she can share her perspective when she turns 18. All we know now is that she's either in foster care or under guardianship with another family member. Hope this helps. Very interesting. So this is a comment on the Trapology post saying, going back through BFS comments the past year was nuts. Super anti-parents, literally calling them pimps at one point, and basically introducing ideas like BB Bleberg would try for her client, i.e. he must have been insane, and excuses for the property transfer. BFF is also a big fan of the neighbor who said bad things about the family, but most of his comments are attacking the victim or her family, even going so far as to pointing out her coffin was adult-sized. What a thing to say. That is just horrific. But anyway, let's move on. I do think that Allison Chow case is quite interesting, but I'll have to look into that into my spare time. I do appreciate some of the comments that people have left, giving their kind of thoughts and feelings about the case and how it's affected them. This is someone who says, as a father of teenager girls, this is Remember Vincent. He said, I've been following the case since it was first published. I've heard his music on TikTok and my daughter was a fan of his. I have one biological daughter and 2 stepdaughters the same age as Celeste. I'm active in their lives as a male role model, making sure nothing like this ever happens to them. America cultivates this idea that we have to elevate these celebrities to godlike status. What are we exactly celebrating? These people being talented? My children have a talented father, and I constantly remind my children that these are regular people, and many of them indulge in decadence beyond the normal human level. Long story short, Ross is doing a phenomenal job in covering the story. David and anyone like him deserves to be under the jail or even the death penalty. I don't even want to begin to imagine my daughter being infatuated with a cornball like David. Celeste's parents did the best that they could, and I don't blame them for their daughter's actions. They obviously needed help with Celeste, and it was unfortunate the end result of this incident. We as a society need to keep our daughters safe. I appreciate the kind words, but I agree with you. I'm just some fucking guy sitting in a room on YouTube. I'm just a normal guy, all right? I find it weird. Not I appreciate it, like when I'm at the courthouse and people come up to me and say they watch me and they like me and stuff, but it's like I'm just some guy, I'm just some dude, I'm just a normal dude, like I'm just a guy, I'm just some fucking guy, like, you know what I'm saying, I stubbed my toe, I'm a normal guy, you know what I'm saying, my nose runs, we're all the same. But this celebrity worship, I think, is very twisted. I do find it weird. Sometimes, one thing I find very uncomfortable is when people sort of say, oh, I don't know who you are, but I can see from the things that are going on around you that you can I get a picture with you? I don't even know who you are. And it's just like, bro, it doesn't matter. You wouldn't ask any random person on the street for a picture. It's just weird. We're just people. We're just people existing, doing our own thing. Breathing the same air, drinking the same water. But I do think that this weird celebrity worship thing is actually a part of this. You know, I wonder if some of these people that are in Celeste's family that apparently knew about the relationship, were they getting sucked into this celebrity worship? When, you know, David was taking a relative to Six Flags, which, look, that was in the paper. I'm not going to deny that because some people think I've got some weird protection thing going on for the family. I'm only just going by what's actually been said. People are taking leaps of faith with information where they don't exist. But it's like, they could have this. I don't know if it was the sister or the cousin, but a relative of Celeste could have gone to Six Flags with David, and he could have been getting recognized. It could have been, you know, people like I found it, if I'm with somebody just that I know just casually, like, and you know, you get recognized, it's like people treat you weird, people treat you different. They sort of like, oh my God, like you're this big thing, and it's just like, I'm not, like I'm just a person, like it just doesn't matter. But I think as a society we do have this weirdo celebrity worship thing going on. You know, I was watching that Drake 20v1 last night. It was very entertaining content, but to watch all of these women like completely act out of character over Drake, like he's just a guy, he's just a dude. Like, he's just some guy. Yes, he's rich. Yes, he's successful. He's a really famous rapper. He's the other Michael Jackson of this. Michael Jackson was just some fucking guy. He was just some guy. He was a weirdo. All right? He was just some dude that was doing weird stuff. So Drake's just some guy, but to see these women, like, act completely out of character, like when you see people fainting to Michael Jackson, you know, I just think it's really odd, and I think it's just a very sick culture that we're living in, and I wonder whether that is part of why David was able to get away with this for so long. People saying completely agree about Celeste's parents. They were dealing with a child being manipulated by an older celebrity with far more money, influence, and control than the family could ever compete with. Blaming them is an easy way for people to avoid placing responsibility on the adult who allegedly exploited her. Protecting teenage girls also means teaching them that fame, talent, and attention do not make someone trustworthy. That's such a good point. If anything, it's like you're less likely to trust somebody that is not just because they're famous and talented and have attention. That's not a reason to not trust somebody, but the way that somebody wields that fame, talent, and attention, the way that if somebody's using that to get you to do things you wouldn't normally want to do, right? That's not something I would do. Everybody's different. I'm not at a level of success that David was at before all of this happened. All right, he getting multi-million-dollar deals with Interscope, doing worldwide tours. We're in completely different lanes, and it's not a competition. But what I'm saying is that I'm sure that when he had fans, I've seen the videos of him with fans outside asking to get autographs and stuff. I'm sure that went to his head, and I'm sure that made him think that he could treat people a certain way. It really makes me think of that post that I read yesterday when we were talking about the other victim, and she said that she had just lost somebody to self-checking out, and he just didn't acknowledge it, and he just started talking about himself. I think that this was a guy who really believed in his God delusion, his delusions of grandeur, and he just felt like he was the center of the universe. And I still feel like he feels that way when I see him in the courtroom. These celebrities as strangers was carefully managed images, not gods or people entitled to access to young fans. Celeste was a child, and none of this should have ever been framed as her actions causing what happened to her. If David is convicted, the responsibility belongs to him and anyone proven to have knowingly helped him conceal it. Welcome to the subreddit. I can't imagine the feeling you get as a father of a teenage daughter when you watch and hear about a case like David's. You are much stronger than I am. I have a daughter close to Celeste's age, and I bust my ass to make sure that she isn't able to get into shit at her age. I know that I was wild and did stuff my guardians couldn't control no matter how hard they tried. So knowing both sides of having mind wander and look and making sure my daughter doesn't even start this process, I don't know how anyone can say anything when we haven't heard from them. They lost a daughter. The fact doesn't change. I know they're mourning. Let them. So this is another really interesting piece of evidence that I haven't seen before that's been shared in Trapology from Nell Woodward. This is apparently screenshots of conversations that were being had within David's Discord by other people the very day that Celeste joined. Now, this is 2022. David's Discord messages day one of Celeste being there. Okay. This is very, very interesting. Okay, this is very interesting. So they said, so I joined the David Discord to see if I could find any messages from Celeste or anything. The Discord is pretty much purged except for Celeste's original message, it seems. I was still shocked by what I read just the same day she had first messaged the Discord. This same night, you can see someone in the Discord say they are 10. Most of the other people in the chat were also minors. Someone said I talk to 24-year-olds like Leonardo DiCaprio, then leave them when they turn 25. Someone also asked a minor if they are a V, if they have a V card, and even though they say I am a minor, I'm not disclosing that info in the server with adults. The conversation continues. The message that I found particularly disturbing was, I want to be a preschool owner for scientific purposes. This was only in a few hours of messages. I went through so many. It's absolutely disgusting how comfortable they were speaking to minors about such things, and it paints a clear portrait in itself of adults abusing children, and they all knew about it. Some of these people should also be investigated for their comments alone. Now, before I delve into these comments, I just want to warn you guys, you know, this is going to be probably covering some very dark and upsetting themes related to, you know, inappropriate conversations with people that shouldn't be having them. I just want to warn you guys of that, and I just want to make it very clear that I do not condone this type of behavior, this type of conversation being had. I condemn it. I condemn David. I condemn his Discord. I condemn everybody in it and everybody that's going to be, you know, shown making these types of comments. I'm giving you a trigger warning that if you don't want to see any of these disturbing themes, you know, maybe you want to turn this video off. And I'm only going to be showing you this for, you know, educational, scientific, documentary, and artistic purposes. The purpose of this video is to give you just like an authoritative breakdown of the information that is related to this story that is in the public interest. I'm documenting this history. I'm not condoning it. I'm condemning it. And I'm just showing you this for educational purposes. And I'm also documenting and archiving this for future generations to basically learn from this horrific situation, learn the patterns that groomers use online, and to protect and to basically warn the public against these methods, or whether it's people grooming on Discord, celebrities grooming through their fan bases, or other social media platforms, places like Fortnite, Roblox, these things being used. I'm doing this because it's in the public interest, and I wanted to make that very clear that I condemn it before I look at these messages. So basically, they're going back and forth. Says, I want to be a preschool owner for scientific purposes. And that's a response to somebody saying, growing up to be a fed. People saying we need the moan sample. That's a bit weird. Someone talking about talent show. I'm not going to lie. This is unsettling already. So people are saying that this is like, yeah, it's funny here. They said, never trust short people. They're the devil in disguise. David was pretty short. What if one day they grow like 2 inches more? Someone said, because you are, and it's annoying because this circle has actually trimmed out what they were replying to. Said, bro, I DM'd a MILF mom and she replied to me, she's so fine. I don't care if I'm 17. I'm trying to be a victim. Okay, that is super weird. They said, F it, anything for the MILFs, all right? So said, I wish the MILFs were in my DMs asking to be my sugar mama were real. Someone said, bro, she's so fine, and replied to me, but then she asked for my age. I didn't lie. She said, text me in a year. And then messages are already being removed, right? This is super weird that this is what was going on in there. Someone said, I can't with V's. Bro really retweeted a Discord post. Yeah, I'm not even going to bring attention to that. So when the message was deleted, someone says, yes, sir. Basically saying you won. I think it's in relation to the V word. They said, I'm a minor. I'm not disclosing that info in a server with adults. People saying L Discord members. They said, oh my, you're not one. And then someone said literally. So I don't know if this is meant to be the Celeste account. And that's them admitting that they are not one of those things beginning with a V. They're saying someone's atting between deleted users. Don't post that stuff. Someone's saying please ban. Someone's saying for real, RIP, you can't no more. Saying black dude's got best asses. Someone said my bad, L, for real, on God. This is a reply to someone saying, yeah, this is weird. I don't even want to look at that because I don't want to get in trouble. People saying I wish I got the same experience with my favorite artists. Someone's saying their age is 3 years under 18. It says, why is David so normal for a celebrity? I see, I don't even want to, like, this is just a Discord chat, and I actually don't feel all the way comfortable even like reacting to this, to be honest with you. People saying, why is David so normal for a celebrity? Little did we know. People saying chill. And so this person says, guys, I'm 10 years old. I don't chill, bro. What's up, guys? What genre? I don't know if that's, I doubt that's Celeste. She had first mentioned the same night. Someone else in the Discord says they're 10. Most of the people in there are minors. So that's unconfirmed. This person's saying I'm 17, about to turn 18. Hi, for real. This person's 14. I just don't even. This is just this server was actually disgusting, to be honest with you. Like, this server is actually just disgraceful. I don't even want to. I don't even want to get deeper into it. Someone's saying I'm illegal here. Oh my god, hello. I shouldn't be in Discord. Just boosted the server 14 boosts. Huge W. This is so disturbing. So Phil Puller's saying this is great documentation. It never matters whether or not we've seen it before. What matters is we continue to make ourselves aware of each piece of evidence so it doesn't get buried. I haven't seen this before. Someone said, thank you. I just wanted to see if I could find her messages and I couldn't. But what I did find, even in these few short hours, is disturbing, and it shows how much they all knew. So they're going to re-upload this information. So I also found the full Twitch VOD that was deleted by Jason the Ween. I uploaded that to YouTube. It's 6+ hours of them making a song together. This is a really disturbing glimpse into the type of environment where things like this happen. Here's hoping the prosecution got all the information they needed before it was wiped of important evidence. I've gone down the same rabbit hole. Sadly, there's another deleted user that posts similar but isn't Celeste. I've been trying to decipher through them myself. It's interesting. Riri was the one who posted her original profile picture in the Discord Celeste was using on her original account, and her all is still there under Celeste. It says, yeah, I only noticed the initial message from her that's been mentioned in several videos, which says David Bark. Then it looks like the server has been purged after that, but Celeste's account fully has the 18+ age roll on her account as well. Totally forgot I took this picture until you mentioned it, but there's multiple Celeste profiles. So many creepy things I found on there. I just want to make a Google document of it all. It's just a lot to go through. Ghosty is an interesting one to search through. That person could distribute music, so I believe that they were behind that prank release recently. Speaking of music, it's super odd to me that his brother released music. Look into the MP3 snippets, it gets worse. His brother is reusing his brother's unreleased music, and probably more than we've ever heard either. That's crazy. I didn't know that. Thank you. Chilling to see how disgusting and unmonitored sites are allowing such things to go on. Poor Celeste never had a chance. When is Discord going to do something about this? Jesus, Discord is just a giant grooming pee party, isn't it? JFC, is this the English language? I cannot. I've got 22 gigs of messages, included pictures from that sub. I'm pretty sure it's already been shown, though. Can just scroll and control F. It's a vile read. The stuff talked about on there. Crazy. Maybe it's been shown, but it's definitely still disturbing to me. I hadn't seen it before, so even if they had been shown before, it doesn't mean that everybody has seen them. That is just horrific. So this is this different to the person I just read? So we've got sort of another account of somebody that's a father of a teenage girl. And just how the videos have affected them, which I appreciate this. Someone said, Savage Kermy said, loving the coverage. I'm grateful you've been covering the case so extensively. You've been working your ass off to deliver the news, sometimes doing multiple videos a day. I appreciate it. As a father of a teenage girl, I'm highly interested in this case. I truly hope her family gets justice and no one has to go through something this horrible again. I agree with you. So we got some posts about Asia. Obviously, everybody knows that I love to dig into Asia. I thought this was interesting. I did actually see this going around previously. This was shared by 420 Girl, but this says Asia is apparently way too easy. And I think this is her discussing her type. And it sounds like she's talking about David to me. Let's hear it.
I'm way too easy, I promise you. Like, the moment a man has, like, that little double dermal piercing on his face, I'm over here, like, cackling. Mad easy. They don't even say anything. I'm like...
So, yeah, she wanted David, right? Like, it seems pretty obvious that she wanted David. So what I do really like about the r/Trapology subreddit is that it's kind of becoming a safe haven for people that are basically getting kicked off of or getting censored on r/Davidiots. So this is the last post I tried to put up on the sub of Davidiots. There is clearly an agenda against Ross, and the agenda on that sub goes much deeper than the hate cult against him. It seems to me it could be a David Burke defense team smear campaign, and I see that for myself even though I've heard Ross mention it. Here's the funny thing, right? This subreddit, they said, oh, you're not allowed to talk about the parents anymore, after I pointed out that it had become a cesspool of parent hate and just completely sidestepping David completely, right? They basically have made it clear that, you know, any defense of the parents isn't really allowed. And They basically have a vendetta against me for calling them out, for speaking facts about the situation. Now, there's no official rule. Why on r/DaveIdiots, one of the most prolific people covering this case, can't be posted? How comes you're not allowed to talk about me on r/DaveIdiots anymore when I've been posting about this since before r/DaveIdiots was even a thing? Before r/DaveIdiots was even a thing, I was talking about this case, all right? So it says, Ross clearing up the lies and misinformation being spread about Celeste's parents. It blows my mind how many people are jumping on the hate cult bandwagon against Celeste's parents, spreading lies about what was actually said in court, ignoring the facts are actually that have been revealed publicly so far. Look at this. Sorry, the post has been removed by the moderators of r/DaveIdiots. You're not allowed to post my videos on there. And they want to talk about it's not compromised. Oh, it's not. Why can't you post my videos on there? You post everyone else's videos on there. You post Asia's videos on there. You post random people. And it's not about views. Doesn't matter how many views you get, whether you're getting 100,000 views or 20 views. They let all kinds of random people that are regurgitating the same information that you've heard before have videos reposted on there. But you're not allowed to post my videos that are clearing up the lies and misinformation that's being spread about Celeste's parents. Interesting, right? Very, very interesting. It says, while we're discussing this, and we could probably do with a mega thread for these types of posts, I posted a couple of months ago and the replies always gave me the ick. Was it AI? I just had a feeling they shut my question down, and after following the news pretty closely, I'd never seen it confirmed as AI. Not sure how asking a question was spreading misinformation either. If AI was the case, why not say so publicly and inform others? Instead, just sniped. Just another instance of weird goings on over at that sub. Excuse this absolutely awfully formatted screenshot, by the way. So this is a post that says, does anyone have a link to the call where David potentially joined and tried to defend himself? Now that's removed. This comment has been identified as spreading misinformation, whether intentionally or unintentionally. It was AI. Now, it wasn't AI. It was never proven. I still think the voice sounds a lot like David. Now, some people are saying, oh, it was someone else with a similar sounding voice, but it was David joining a voice call. Oh, sorry. It was somebody that sounded just like David joining a voice call of a bunch of people talking about whether or not David did it. And they were in there sounding just like David, talking about, you sound dumb. You just sound dumb. Everything you're saying sounds dumb. I thought it sounded like David. I'm not going to say it definitely was David. It was never proven that it was David. And some people seem to suggest that there was kind of inflections in the way that the person was talking that proved that it wasn't David, and I'm willing to accept that. But the fact that you can't even ask, does anyone have the call where David potentially joined and tried to defend himself? They're just asking where the call is. It's ridiculous what's going on in that sub. I'd even call it sinister what's going on there. Now, the lucky thing is, because of what I do, it'll take me a little while to find it, but I could go back into any of the many videos I've done, and people are saying, oh, Russ has made too many videos about David. No, I haven't. And the reason that all the videos I've made on David are great is because you can now go back and find that call. And I don't say definitively in that video that that call is definitely David, but I've documented that in a video on my channel. I've recorded it from the original post where they're happily going to delete all these posts and rewrite history. You can't delete my channel. You can't delete the history of the videos that I've done. Okay, YouTube could do whatever they wanted to, but you know, we're going to follow the rules, and hopefully YouTube don't do us dirty again. But what is a fact is that all of these videos are recorded, all of these videos are backed up. I've got absolutely all of my David research saved, and it's undeletable. All right, I've got it. You can't delete everything. As much as they would love to delete everything, they can't delete everything. It's not possible. So if you want to find that, you can go back in my giant vault of David videos, and you can go and find the video of sounds like David defending himself on a Discord call. You can go and find it, and you can go and listen to it, and you can find that, and you can make your mind up for yourself. Okay. Who's saying, I agree, the sub's been taken over by David defenders. I can unsub from there now that I have Ross's subreddit instead. I appreciate that. Absolutely, I'm staying on it to watch what's going on with the deceitful and deceptive agenda. I'm sure there will be those that are part of its agenda that will be watching what's going on in this sub too. Yes, the trolls will come here, but with decent mods, they can be kicked out. I will need some mods, okay? If you want to be a mod, I'll let you know how you can be a mod. I'm going to have a team meeting with my team next week. Well, what is it, Sunday? So someday next week, and we're going to work out how we can run this thing between ourselves and with the help of you guys. So there's always going to be a few evil folks out there, but considering how few people would logically defend him or anything he's done at this point, it likely could be Blair's PR team, which they have, don't they? Could be his mum, Caleb too, the sister, the dad, the former manager, shit, even Asia. I doubt she would anonymously defend this, but perhaps some of the comments about herself. I do think they started this back in September, though, truly starting with TMZ, who kept saying things that made me roll my eyes or brought doubt and stirred confusion. TMZ tried to botch this case before it even started. That, plus these totally weird Reddit comments, is about the only PR cleanup that they can do, aside from victim blame or attempt to make him look good in any tiny desperate way, including garnering sympathy from other creeps, which Blair defended Harvey Weinstein of, after all, tried to make him look like this powerful, successful genius who women use somehow. There aren't many D4VD left yet that aren't paid heavily. I don't hate Ross, and I post there, and when I say the parents of Celeste should be held accountable for not caring what she was doing, I'm in no way whatsoever defending David. Listen, I respect your right to say that, okay? I respect your right to say that. I respectfully disagree, but when comments to the contrary aren't allowed, when posts that are posting me doing a full-blown detailed defense of the family and correcting misinformation taken down, that's when it gets sus. You know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to delete this comment. I'm going to approve it, okay? I respect their right to have this opinion even though I disagree with it, okay? And look, I don't think the parents should be held accountable. I think they've suffered enough. I think mistakes were made. Yeah, I've said it before, I think mistakes were made. Clearly mistakes were made, and that does not change anything. I don't think the parents are responsible for what happened to Celeste. You could say that their parenting wasn't the textbook model of parenting. That's absolutely fine. Clearly there were problems, but doesn't have any difference to what was going on. And deflecting blame towards the parents is a distraction from holding David accountable, and I think it's a strategy, and I think that subreddit has been allowed to run rampant with these narratives on purpose. It says, you are one saying Ross makes his videos on the David subjects just for clicks over on the Dave Idiot sub, and part of the agenda to concentrate on Celeste parents troll. Ooh, so what is their history? Is their history different? Maybe I shouldn't have improved it, but look, how can I do this? They're talking about Trippy Red. They're talking about a bunch of other stuff. Last post I tried to put on the video. Look, I can't find the specific post about me. They've got quite an extensive history. But this is like a long... Let's just see what they were saying. If they're hating on me and then they're over here deceiving me in my own sub. They said, I feel like if the parents can be defended because they couldn't control their 13-year-old daughter because she was such a great liar and deceiver that they didn't have any idea what was going on, so we might as well say that she was so great at it that she had David fooled to hell. So why not blame the whole damn thing on Celeste? There would be no difference. No, dummy. She's the one that got murdered. So if you lie to somebody, you deserve to get murdered. So if I go and lie to somebody about my age or my intentions, if I go and lie to a girl and say I want to get married to her when really I just want to take her on a few dates and smash, I deserve to get murdered. I can just get murdered because it's my fault for deceiving her. No, it's David's fault, full stop. This is where I'm beginning to suspect this person of not being honest now. Because it's basically like, oh, if the parents were so well deceived, then surely David should be the one that's deceived. Well, yeah, but the parents didn't do the fucking murder. David's the one that did the murder, so no level of deceit allows you to murder them. There's nowhere in the law books, in the law statutes, that say, oh, well, if you're deceived badly enough, if somebody tricks you badly enough, you're allowed to just murder and dismember them. What a load of nonsense. The person responsible, allegedly, is David. Forget about the parents. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if he was deceived. He deceived her, all right? He deceived her into thinking he cared about her. It says there would be no difference. She was an innocent child that obviously was let down by the parents no matter how many excuses you try and make for the parents. It just doesn't... Forget about making excuses. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying that the parents' parenting had nothing to do with what happened to the murder and dismemberment, all right? That's it. The murder and dismemberment was not... The parents had no say in that. Whether or not maybe they should have been more on it, keeping track of what their kid was doing with this creepy guy, cool. Forget about that. It's the murder and dismemberment was not anything to do with the parents. Nobody's thinking it's going to go there. And what really makes me sick is how the ones who are saying her poor parents were manipulated by a child and are saying that means that we think they should be held accountable. It was their fault this happened to her and not David. There's a big difference in saying the parents should also be held accountable and saying it's all their fault. I would like to see one post that says that so that the YouTuber saying this shit can get his facts straight before making a video instead of just making it saying this crap to get clicks. Here's the thing, right? I respect this person's right to speak their mind, but I do now have suspicions that they're part of spreading this narrative that is basically trying to put the blame onto Celeste's parents. So I'm just going to say it again for the dummies in the back, for the mentally challenged people like this person, Marsupial Beginning. Okay, Who murdered Celeste? Who dismembered Celeste? Who did that? There's no influence. Nobody influenced that person to do that. Okay? There's no parents gave it to them on a platter. That doesn't mean if I bring somebody to you now, if I bring a homie to your house and I say, yo, it's cool. If you want to murder and dismember this person, go for it. And you do the murder and dismemberment, that doesn't mean that that person took it upon them. I could be making a joke. It's just absurd. You're just applying accountability to the parents where it doesn't exist. The man allegedly murdered and dismembered this little girl. Doesn't matter if he was deceived, which I don't believe. I think he knew what was going on. He deceived the police. He lied to the police in the body cam footage. So anyway, I'm tired of having this conversation, but this guy's a clown. But I'm still going to allow it to be said. I'm still going to allow it to be said. And I do think that they are trolling now that I've actually looked into it. So we will be more diligent going forward. But I'm not going to silence and censor people needlessly. So this is another post from Coke Can. They basically shared a post that allegedly resulted in 2 of their accounts being banned completely from r/DaveIdiots. And one of the former mods from DaveIdiots actually responded in the comments to this. It says, I was banned from DaveIdiots for this. Justifiable. 2 accounts to be exact. If y'all think it was on me, then I guess I'll take the L. They said, my opinion on what's been happening on the group. All right. And somebody said, no AI. They said that they think this is AI. All right. I don't think that this has got anything to do with AI. It says, I've noticed a large amount of people being banned for showing the slight amount of empathy for a couple of parents who lost their child in the most horrific way possible. I've also been noticed that if you talk about Trap Law Ross, you get banned. Has this group become biased? Yes. All right. Post is awaiting moderator approval. All right. And they got both of their accounts banned. They said, what can I do to appeal this? You can't. You've been permanently banned from participating, DaveIdiots, because you broke the community's rules. Where in the community rules does it say you can't talk about Trap Law Ross? And if it does say that in the community rules, then clearly there's a bias. Clearly they're trying to shut down a certain perspective, all right? Asking how they can appeal it. No chance, all right? No chance to appeal. Spammer on 1-day account. Sounds to me like you don't like Trap Law Ross, all right? And this is another post. Jesus Rivas, you say that your family didn't know David, yet you this is someone else. Say your family didn't know David, yet you contacted LAPD on your own accord, fearing it was your own daughter hundreds of miles away. Not to forget you knew she had 3 cell phones, all right? Where was the fear when David went to church and shopping malls and amusement arcades with a minor? There was no proof that they knew about that. Didn't you find it odd an unidentified male gave your child a mobile phone? It was a secret phone and they didn't have the phone number. That's why he only knew 2 cell phone numbers and that there was a 3rd phone that allegedly had been purchased for her, right? Says Trap Ross, if you're reading this, you're the GOAT. I appreciate that. Thank you for your hard work. W. Sloan as well. Shout out to Sloan. Imagine hating more on the parents than the actual alleged killer. Crazy, but I mean, it is 2026. Anything goes. So this is a long post, and you got banned from the community and can't comment on this post. So it said, as a parent, leave the parents alone. As a parent of a teen girl who's the same age as Celeste when she was murdered and desecrated by David Anthony Burke, I have a broken, aching heart for her parents, no matter what. There are a lot of details that raise questions, but until we have the whole picture, everything is speculation, period. That's the end of it right now. It's speculation. There's no proof, none that her parents didn't love her. In fact, there's ample proof they did, even if it's found her parents knowingly let her go off to London with David, even if it's found that they knew that they were in a relationship, which again, none of us knew either way. Stop blaming the parents for what David did is wrong. Even if they were the most neglectful, free-range parents, they weren't. It doesn't mean they ever expected or wanted their child to be murdered and dismembered and left to rot in a car, dude. Like, come on. This is not a hot take, but I'm so frustrated and disgusted by how much punishment her poor family is getting, as if losing their daughter in the most gruesome, violent, twisted way imaginable and having to hear about it and all the sick, sexual things he did to her child wasn't torture enough. I personally appreciate Ross for holding the line for them. David did this and he's going down for it. Justice for Celeste. Banned. Don't bring that up. Banned from the community. This community is disgusting. Imagine having a daughter who's a child and defending letting her date an adult and travel across the world with him unsupervised. Letting her date an adult, not proven. 0 facts, 0 evidence, 0 testimony to suggest that they let her date an adult. All right? Travel across the world with him unsupervised? Well, we don't know the context that was allowed in. But letting her date an adult, if there was proof of that, you can guarantee Blair Burke would have brought it up. Banned for even suggesting that you have sympathy. I'm with you, but I suggest you save your breath. You're at the DaveIdiots group, a group full of imbeciles with no heart and empathy, always on their high horses, thinking they know every little detail to the teeth. They knowing about their relationship doesn't necessarily mean they knew they were having S. That being said, I'm with you, hugs. Say it with me. even if it comes out in trial that they knew about the relationship and they knew about the age and they knew everything, none of that even excuses the murder and dismemberment. Oh, you know when you just get a murder and dismemberment vibe from your daughter's new boyfriend. You know how no one's ever said that ever. All right. You know how nobody would ever expect this to happen ever in any this is the worst thing that a parent could ever happen to them. I don't have kids. I actually don't want kids. That's my own personal choice. Realistically, I don't want kids. I think it's a harsh world. I don't want to bring kids into this world. I've seen so much horrible stuff. It's not something I want to do. And I've had a hard time in the past, and I don't feel like I could be capable of protecting a child from this world. That's my choice. I have the utmost sympathy for a parent that has got the most this is the worst news a parent could ever get. This could not be worse. It could not be worse. And the idea that people think that they somehow are complicit in this is just nonsense. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. And I think that there's been a concerted effort by people associated with David's PR team to push this narrative. And I think that an army of useful idiots have latched onto this, thinking that they're smart, thinking they're using their brains, but really they've been programmed by nonsense, by astroturfing and victim blaming. And I think it's disgusting. And you should think and use your brain a little bit harder. No, you absolutely shouldn't have been banned for that in any normal sub. But as we know, the sub is run by pro-David bots. A few days ago, they made a post saying they didn't want anyone making posts about the parents anymore in support or against. That was supposed to result in your post not getting approved, not in a ban. No clue why they banned you, most likely because you mentioned Ross. This has always confused me. See, where was the post where it announced that you're not allowed to talk about me? Why don't you go? Surely you can have big, long debates about me, and you can all talk about in the comments how much you hate me, and you don't like my videos, and don't respect me, and you think that the families should be the real ones in jail, and David should be let free because he was tricked. All right, but you won't even allow the conversation to take place. That's always confused me. You were part of the mod team, but it seems like you were kept in the dark on a lot of decisions going on in the subreddit. Was that the case? They said, I wouldn't say that reflects the entirety of my time on the team. We actually worked pretty well together for the majority of the time there, but things changed a lot when Remy came back somewhat recently. I salute you. Did you write the post as a parent of a girl? Because I agree 1000% with everything you wrote. I already feel much more at ease just by reading this thread here. The people at that sub are sick, and I've been wasting my breath trying to argue with these clowns. Thank you for posting here to show their true colors. I just clicked into this OP and their account is already banned. This is mind-blowing what's going on. r/DavidIdiotz has a strict no AI policy, but it doesn't apply to them. Notice their profile picture is AI. Oh, whoopsie. What was AI about these posts? I didn't see anything AI about those posts. Is it AI to like me? I don't think so. I think it's AI to just parrot a bunch of shit that came from Blair Burke and the PR team, knowingly or unknowingly. If people are saying, oh, everybody thinks that... I see a bunch of people in there posting talking about, oh, Ross thinks that everybody's paid by David. He's paranoid. No, I'm not saying everybody's paid by David. Are you dumb? I'm saying that I think that there is a PR push by David's team to spread and seed the narrative that the parents are responsible for this murder, not this disgusting alleged killer David. And I think that dummies, big fucking dummies, all right, with no critical thinking skills of their own, have latched onto this and said, oh, yeah. Because there's a lot of people that are still fans of David. Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe you could have done it. You know what someone said to me the other day? And I was actually in shock, and I was low-key, like, a little bit upset, all right? And I had to give them the benefit of the doubt and try and educate them. But somebody said to me, oh, I knew David and like some of his friends back in the day. I don't think he could have done it. Like, I think the family had connections to the cartel. And I just had to be like, bro, you are so lost and uninformed about this case. You clearly don't know anything about the facts of this case. You know, you obviously weren't in court to see the evidence, but some people, it's just so much easier because they like David, they've met him a couple times, they have a connection with him. It's more convenient for them to just believe anything, all right? They'll just believe, oh, the parents had something to do with the cartel. I think the cartel, I don't think he did it. The amount of dumb people, I was on the phone with someone the other day, and they were with their friend, all right? And this is a fairly smart guy, but they were with their friend who's in the background, who's not followed this fucking case at all, doesn't really follow my videos, just as a friend of a friend. And they were like, oh, really? You really think he did it? I don't think he did it, man. It's just too obvious. Like, I don't think he did it. I think something else is going on. And like, I had to hold my tongue and just be like, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking dummy. You don't have a clue. You don't have a clue what you're talking about. Shut up. If you don't know what you're talking about and you've not followed this, you've not followed the evidence, you don't need to have been to court, but I've been to court for every single day of the hearings. Shut up, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. And so all these people in r/Dave Idiots that are just accepting these narratives wholesale like an NPC, just loading themselves up, I think the parents should be in jail. You guys are fucking dumb. You guys are idiots. And I don't think you're all being paid by David. Blair Burke is paying every single person to post on the Reddit. I think they're seeding a narrative. And you guys are so dumb. You're so... I guess the parents should be in jail. Yeah, the parents of a murdered child should be in jail. They should be the ones in jail. It's disgusting. Can you hear yourselves? Can you hear yourselves? You're doing the bidding for an alleged child murderer PDF. You're defending him by accident because you're so dumb. So anyway, educate yourselves, people, and use some critical thinking skills. Sorry. Last post I'll read you from Amy Lynn. New here, I'm new to the Reddit, but my boy TLR is on here a lot, so I downloaded it just to join his community. Thank you, Traplaw Ross, for the continued coverage of the Celeste Rivas case. I've only been consuming your content when it comes to this case. Keep up the great work, and we're going to stay seated waiting for the next update post. Thank you, Trap. Thank you, Amy Lynn. I really appreciate it. Saying, welcome to Reddit. It can be a cesspool here. Ross is good, though, so this sub should be okay. Thank you. I've been following TLR for about 4 years now, and he's really coming to his own while covering the Celeste case. I think he found his lane and should stick with it. Thank you. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna try, but I'm also gonna have other lanes as well because we've got the Dirk trial coming up. We're gonna be going back to back on the Dirk trial for the next few weeks, all right, when that starts, and then we're going to be going back to back whenever the David hearings and trials and all that continues. There's going to be a lot to talk about. Says lol, I did the same thing. I don't know how this place works, but my boy Traplaw is here, so I figured if he's here, then this place must be worth looking at. I guess we'll figure it out eventually, right? Welcome, glad you're here. Hope to see you around more. Thank you. I'm trying to get the hang of Reddit, how it works. Honestly, I feel heartwarmed by just the support that I'm getting on this subreddit. Not that it's mountains and mountains of support, but like the people that are here, they seem to be here for the right reasons. I just feel like a wholesome connection. People saying, oh, I don't really know how to use Reddit, but I'm just downloading Reddit to just support what you're doing. And look, I'm sure it's not going to be perfect. I'm sure there's going to be some mistakes along the way. I don't know how to moderate a Reddit community. I'm a Reddit lurker and a scroller and a commenter, not necessarily a moderator, but I'm hoping that with the support of some of you guys, with the support of my team and just, you know, just straight up honesty and open-mindedness and no agenda at all. All right, other than the truth and the facts, we're going to make this into a really positive place for us to follow all of the cases that we're interested in, to share all of the information, document all of the most important things that are going on related to this, not just this case, but everything that we're covering, everything that we're interested in, and just being a real asset to the search for truth and information. So I'm so grateful for everybody that's commented. Keep it coming. I will be doing regular updates and reviews and reactions to everything on the Trapology sub. I'm so grateful for your support. Thank you so much. I'm going to wrap it up there, but I will see you guys in the next video. Just like so much love for you guys supporting and trusting me. Because I feel like we're together going to see through a lot of the bullshit that's going on, and we're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to get to the truth, all right? And if anything changes, all right, we'll just keep working through it. We'll just keep working through it. If new information comes out, we'll deal with it. We'll process it together, all right? We've not got an agenda here. The agenda is the truth. It's the honesty, and it's justice that we're all looking for. Justice for Celeste, justice in truth for all people. That's my belief. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching this one. I'm out for now. Peace out, people. Thanks.